That's
Any
true.
sweet today, bud. Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow's a new day. Actually, I got a good feeling about today for some reason.
900.
Plenty of time.
There we go, Mariano.
It's always been
on,
a,
man.
I just like to act grumpy. I got a good vibe.
You like challenges.
Yeah.
Raises to 25.
Aces for Xuan.
3 folds.
Alex not going to go set mining with the sailboats.
5 folds.
Realism versus optimism.
Just what Xuan wants in position.
This episode of Weekly Poker Hand is a wild one, so make sure you stick around all the way to the end. We are playing 25, 50, 100, 200 at the lodge, about $50,000 deep, about 250 big blinds. Action folds around to Tesla. In the cutoff, he has King of Diamonds, Queen of Hearts. He makes it 900. Xuan Liu, who has an amazing YouTube channel, make sure you check it out. She 3-bets on the button to 2,500 with the pocket aces. I think in loose, splashy, battly Texas games, you can get away with just making it a little bit bigger with your entire 3-betting range, which probably wants to be a little bit less polarized than normal and a little bit more value heavy than normal, but 2,500 is certainly fine. Back around to Tesla. He's not folding the king queen. Let's head to the flop.
Crushing her opponent who only has 12% equity, and a queen high flop could be trouble for Tesla.
I'm good, thank you.
Thinks he's golden, but he's way behind. Hearts also covered with the ace of hearts for Xuan.
Yeah.
The flop comes Queen of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts, 6 of Hearts. Xuan has the Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds. Tesla has the King of Diamonds, Queen of Hearts. So they both have a pair and a backdoor flush draw. Tesla checks. The pot's 5,400. Xuan goes for a nice $2,500 bet. Again, in Texas, I may just bet a little bit larger. I think this is a spot where, especially when you're playing against someone who's loosey-goosey like Tesla, you want to use bigger bet sizes in general, because if Tesla has a queen or a 10 or any sort of draw, he's just not going to fold. So if the pot's 5,400, I may bet more like 4,000 in this scenario, especially given there's 2 Broadway cards on the flop, and that 6 does give Tesla a few more potential straights in his range. That said, 2,500 is fine. Tesla then has to figure out what he wants to do with his top pair.
I got it.
Aces on Sundays, huh? Okay.
As Tesla wastes no time for the check raise to 6,000.
I had a royal flush draw one time.
But yeah, that worked out.
Tesla makes an interesting play and check raises small. And I think this play is fine, but again, I think you probably want to use slightly bigger sizes in Texas. Now, I don't think Xuan's known to be like the most insane, maniacal type of poker player who's just going to start re-raising with all sorts of junk to the point that you can get in with the king-queen. But this is a spot where her range is going to have a lot of equity that you don't mind denying. The problem, though, with going to 6,000 is you don't really deny any of the equity because she's going to call in position, getting pretty good pot odds. So I think if Tesla wants to raise, he probably wants to go a little bit bigger to something like 8,000 in this scenario with a hand that's almost always good, but is very, very vulnerable to being outdrawn. Let's see how the aces proceeds now.
For someone.
Xuan makes the call.
When you're playing very, very deep stacked, as they are in this scenario, you have to be very cautious when it comes to getting all of your money in. If we were playing something like maybe 100 big blinds deep, you could just put all the money in immediately on the flop and not worry about it. If they were playing, let's say, $20,000 deep instead of 50. But 50,000 deep, if you do re-raise in this scenario and get called, you're going to be against better made hands and really high equity draws. So for that reason, Xuan just needs to call in position and see what develops.
Another 10.
1 check.
Board a bit spicy, 2 diamonds, paired board, hearts. Also the ace of diamonds in Xuan's hand. Tesla has acted quickly on previous hands. If you put in a bet, he might just snap jam. You never know what's going to happen, but Xuan correctly going for some value here. 6,000 is the price.
The turn is the 10 of diamonds. 2 flush draws are available now. Tesla wisely slows down because when Xuan bets the flop and then calls the raise, she's going to have some 10s in her range, as well as aces, kings, and ace-queen, all of which absolutely crush him. Xuan has to figure out now if she should value bet. And essentially, as your opponent is more straightforward, where they are rarely going to check raise you as a bluff, and they will check a lot of hands like a queen or draws looking to check call, you definitely want to value bet the aces. And against a lot of players in small and medium stakes games, they will not put you in difficult spots here. But I've seen Tesla play a little bit, and he gets in there and battles hard. And against players that battle hard, he could have check raised a 10 on the flop, right? He could also check the turn looking to check raise again, both with value hands and draws. And for that reason, I think I'd be a little bit more cautious with the aces and probably just check it back here and then call any river bet. But I will say that might be the easy way out. Whenever you're playing poker, you want to make sure you're not consistently taking the easy way out and avoiding having to risk your whole stack. That said, this is a spot where I don't think you really want to risk your whole stack unless you do think Tesla is absolutely insane, and that's up to you to figure out if he is. Anyway, Xuan does go for the bet. She bets 6,000.
She's making a play you'll commonly see good players make, betting small on the turn when checked to,
20,000.
after calling aggression on the flop, and now she faces a quick check raise from Tesla to 19,000. Tesla, I suppose, trying to get some protection for his hand, maybe putting Xuan on a draw, or maybe a lower queen.
Tesla surprises me again. He raises to 19,000. Is this a value bet? Is this a bluff? I don't know. This is a spot where it is very easy for Xuan to have a 10, which she's never going to fold, and also very easy for her to have aces, kings, and ace-queen, which I presume she's not going to fold. And on top of that, whatever draws she has can probably stick around, right? Because they're going to be straight draws and flush draws, primarily a lot of straight and flush draws. So I'm not really sure I like this turn raise by Tesla. Maybe it'll work out for him, though.
But it's aces.
It is aces. Xuan's certainly not going to go anywhere.
What do you think about this turn bet? Do you think it was a value raise or a bluff raise? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, click the like and subscribe button for me.
I don't know how you could put your opponent on a 10 after they raised on the flop.
Call.
Kind of like on the flop, if Xuan goes all in at this point, when she does get called, she's probably going to be in a pretty bad spot. That said, the stack to pot ratio is getting relatively shallow, where she'll only have 24,000 remaining in her stack if she does call. However, I think given Tesla does battle very, very hard, calling's the only option with the idea that I'm probably going to call off on almost all rivers. Let's go to the river.
Tesla needs a queen and a queen only, and it's a 6.
I'm all in.
All in. 1.
Tesla's all in for Xuan's 24,400.
Announces all in, but looks a little nervous.
The river is the 6 of diamonds, completing the backdoor flush. Tesla is not afraid. He rips it in. Let's see if Xuan can make the call.
Less likely that we have flop to set, right? Maybe a hand like pocket 10s or 6s would raise, check raise the flop, but pretty hard for have a hand like that at this current juncture. Xuan trying to get a read.
This is pretty sick.
Blocking hands like ace queen. Would a hand like king queen do this? Perhaps.
I don't think Xuan would ever expect to see king queen here. I think she might be thinking this guy might be bluffing.
This run out was good for me or bad for me.
That's
Got Xuan a flush.
astute observation from Xuan there.
Don't have a flush.
When a 10 and a 6 come out, pocket 10s and pocket 6s are less likely. That's why she's kind of saying it seems like it's a good or bad run out, because it makes those sets less likely. But could he just have a random 6 that's taken the lead?
If anybody does, it's
I
Tesla.
was gonna bet.
Great jacket from Xuan. She looks comfy. Shout out to WPT Global. Tesla not saying a damn word. Sometimes you got to pay the man off.
Xuan calls here. She's going to win a massive pot.
Would be the biggest pot of the day here on the
Remember what
Lodge
you
live
said
stream.
about no one having aces?
Oh, boy.
Red aces,
What
too.
our TKO jerky hand of the day? A little free promo for the guys.
Oh.
I don't like this.
Uncomfortable spot. Might be talking herself into a fold. But I think she'll pay him off and see the good news.
Sorry.
Okay.
He's just trying to figure out what he has. What would call her 3-bet, check raise on the flop, check the turn on the turn 10, and then check raise again? Is it pocket queens specifically that didn't 4-bet?
Oh boy.
She's getting a great price.
Oh, I never fooled an ace in there. I never
God. Nice hand, nice hand.
Great hand.
Yo, I would have folded right away.
That was a great
After a lot of thought, Xuan makes the fold and has shown the disastrous news. Tough spot. I'll talk to you next time.